As a dispatcher, you are a call taker and a dispatcher, so you do take incoming 911 emergency calls, but then it is also your responsibility to then dispatch help to those calls. My name is Nancy Burckhalter. I work at Jeffcom 911, so it's a multi-jurisdictional communication center for 911 emergency calls. I don't know what I expected, but it wasn't what I got. It's just so much more stressful and so much more serious than I ever expected it to be. Whether you're taking calls and you take a CPR call or you're dispatching and it's an officer involved shooting or something like that, it is incredibly stressful and incredibly difficult to do, but I wouldn't do anything else at this point. I have a sincere respect for other dispatchers as well as firefighters and law enforcement. And I think just all of us working together, it's just such an important part of the community that people don't really realize. It was September 11th, so it was just after midnight, and it was a civil assist, which is generally a very boring call. Pretty much across the board, it's usually a custody exchange between parents, and they just want a law enforcement presence just to make sure everybody behaves. And I dispatched two officers, one of them being Officer Vakoff, to that call, and they arrived on scene, and everything seemed fine, but we have what's called status checks, and we status check officers after 4 minutes after they've been on scene. And I didn't even get to status check them before things went sideways. Shortly after that, my sergeant keyed up that there was an officer down with a gunshot wound to his neck. But a few hours after that, and I was still working the channel, I was told that he didn't make it, and it was pretty devastating. I will never forget every second of that call.
This is the best job in the world, being a firefighter, and it means the world to me. I love every aspect of it. I love everything that has to do with firefighting, riding down the street and you're in the fire engine, sirens going. My name is Brennan Houk. I am a firefighter for Adams County Fire Rescue. I am second generation firefighter. My dad was in the fire service. He got hired a year before I was born, and he just retired about 2 years ago. Fire families do sacrifice a lot. My wife is a stay-at-home mom. She takes care of our kids while I'm at work. We also don't have anyone that lives in the state, so we're by ourselves here. So when I am gone, she deals with taking care of the kids, taking them to their appointments, to school, sports, taking care of things around the house, going to the store, all that kind of thing. So it's a huge sacrifice and a huge mental load for her to have to deal with, and I'm really appreciative of that. She was in the hospital for almost a month and a half, and my wife, she did not want to leave her side, obviously, so my wife was there pretty much the same amount. She didn't come home. I was with our son, so I actually got really lucky. I only had to work 2 days of her whole stay in the hospital. And that is thanks to all the great people I work with. They were able to help me get trades for my shifts. I did use a lot of my sick time and vacation, that kind of thing, but when I ran out of that, everyone bent over backwards for me. It was overwhelming, the support that I got, and they covered my shifts, so I didn't have to work. And I can't imagine if I had to, if I didn't have that luxury of having the support that I did. I don't know how we would have gotten through that, to be honest.
A police officer is someone who finds you at your worst moment in your life and has the ability to make it better, make it livable, make it survivable, or fix it. My name is Ashley Ferris, and I'm an agent for the Lakewood Police Department. What brought me to being a police officer is just the impact you can have and the purpose. And I've always felt like if I'm gonna go do a job every day, it's gotta be more than cashing a check. It's gotta be more than paying the bills. It's gotta be something that matters. I get into the area and we start setting up a perimeter because this guy's on foot on the loose now. I get out of the car and the radio is nonstop. It's nonstop. I can hardly even decipher the information. It's coming in so fast. And then I see somebody walking down the sidewalk towards me. And I walk around the car and I see a guy wearing a police vest. And he's loading magazines. I don't know who this guy is. Is he Denver? Is he an undercover Fed guy in the area? I don't know who he is. So he is coming towards me, so I approach him and I say, "Hey man, where are you coming from?" And so he sees me trying to get on the radio and we lock eyes. And that was the moment we both thought, shit. And he makes a quick movement with his right hand and I instinctively go to stop his right hand, which I think saved my life because he immediately stopped his motion. I drew my gun, got distance, backed away, and I said, "Don't do this." He fired 6 rounds at me, and unfortunately I took 1 to the lower abdomen, right below my belt. I was able to hit him. I knew I hit him because I saw him kind of skip. Well, he lands in front of my patrol car, and I'm behind the patrol car. So the patrol car is directly between us, and I can see him through the wheels underneath the car. And all I can see is that he's in a dark lump. I knew other officers were on the way. I had gotten the information out, shots fired, I'm hit, send help. And they're coming to me. And my worst fear is that this guy is gonna get up and shoot my friends or shoot other people in the community because I didn't handle the threat. So I laid down suppressive fire and kept firing. I ended up firing 23 rounds. I had to do a reload, and eventually help came. But you know, I'm laying there right before help gets there. I'm laying there on the street, looking at the lights, the Christmas lights like reflecting off the pavement. And I was like, you know what? I did what I had to do. And this is kind of peaceful. And if you're gonna go, this is an okay way to do it. The bullet missed my femoral artery by less than 1 millimeter. It hit my colon and my intestines, so they had to remove a good part of that. But the biggest damage was that it hit my sciatic nerve. So my right leg and my lower right back have not been the same since. Before the shooting, I was contemplating suicide. I was planning on taking my life. Actually, the night of the shooting, when I went home, my plan was to take my life. I'd already planned out the situation, the care of my home, the care of my animals. I had already planned it all out. And by, again, some kind of, I don't know, divine intervention, I had to stay for mandatory overtime that night. And then, ironically enough, someone shot me and changed my life and saved my life. This is a first responder's life. This is a first responder's life. The fact that so many of us consider suicide every day. And what's crazy is we are the ones, if you're considering suicide and your family or you calls 911, I'm the one who gets you to help. I'm the one who takes you to the resources and says, don't do it. That's me. And then here I am on the other side of the badge, ready to do it, ready to take my own life. That is being a first responder. That is one of the biggest struggles, and we don't know how to ask for help. We don't know how to not be strong.
Having OneGoat reach out was really, really moving, honestly, because it was just so appreciated to be appreciated, and for somebody like Mike to reach out and they're sponsoring me to go to Police Week in DC, which I'll be able to be there when they read Dylan's name off as an officer that was killed, being recognized, and just having an organization say, hey, we see you, we see what you do, we see that your job is important, and it's a big part of this, and a big part of keeping the community safe. It means the world to me, it really does, and I know it would mean the same to any dispatcher.
Mark Livingston, he's the one who initially reached out to me about it, and he told me OneGoat can provide support as far as money, if need be, a check, and just any other support that we may have needed. And that's really, I didn't expect that at all, nor did I feel deserving of it, but it really did help us as far as like food, meals. We had to eat out, obviously, for a month and a half. We weren't home, and that gets expensive after a while. So that really helped. As far as bills too, that came into play there. Mike Pappy reached out to me a couple other times after that, asking if we need anything else, and the support from it has just been great. And it's a great thing that he's got going on here.
I was recently put into contact with OneGoat when someone at my organization at Lakewood reached out to me and said, hey, I'm going to connect you to some people. When I learned about the organization, I thought it was incredible because, like I said, I've been so fortunate to receive support. I was fortunate enough to have a GoFundMe. Had I not had that GoFundMe, I would not have been able to pay my bills. And so to hear about an organization like OneGoat and what they do for first responders who are struggling, like, it's a game changer. It is that much less stress on a first responder going through an incident like this. And so the fact that OneGoat does this, I think, is amazing. And I'm blessed to be here, and I'm fortunate to be an honoree, and I think what they do is incredible, and I'm happy to speak on their behalf, and hopefully they can touch more lives with what they do.